So my first deal was actually my parents. 6 months into, I'm like, man, this is not going to work out. And well, for me, just the momentum was competing against myself, right?
Can you talk about the car collection real quick? What are you collecting?
Well, so don't really like to put this out there, but I do have, and other realtors do that with me. I do that with other realtors, right?
Welcome back to the Seeking Success podcast, powered by StockPick. This is the #1 podcast in the world where we have a variety of different guests covering general topics around success to make you more successful.
Today, we have a very, very famous real estate agent. We're talking top 10 Remax agent. Radies is going to the intro. I'm your host, Umar alongside Radies Rajakulam. Let's go into it.
Yeah, so today we have Sai. Sai, say what's up, man.
What's going on, everybody?
Yeah, so we have Sai, also known as Sai Tirulokan on Instagram. So for context, guys, this guy is a 7 times #1 top producer from 2015 to 2021. He is ranked 11th in the world for Remax, which is insane. He's also a 2 times top 30 under 30 for Remax, again, insane. And in 2021, he was the he's fourth in Canada at Remax, which is just insane. Like those are just insane accomplishments, man. So big hats off to you. And I think one thing that I guess I recently learned which is something that Umar and I kind of share as well, is you started getting your real estate license when you were 17.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that process, man.
Yeah, man. No, dad just points at a sign one day and says, hey, look, you should go get your real estate license. Hey, look, you can get your license in 30 days or 90 days, right? Everybody used to get those ads or used to see them all the time. So I'm like, yeah, let me give it a shot as well. I'm still young. I'm just about to go to university. And I think it'd be pretty cool to just have my real estate license as well. And in our community, we have a few celebrity agents as well, like Punch, if you guys know, and just seeing that stuff was always just kind of cool. We're like, but you know what? Let me just give it a go too and see where it goes, right? That's kind of how that got kickstarted, at least.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So how did that journey go? Because obviously you started to get licensed at 17, and I know this as well. I had to have my mom sign forms so I could actually just sign up. And so you went through it. I know you also went to post-secondary. How did the career really start? And at what point did it were you like, okay, yeah, I'm focusing on real estate?
Okay, so the license process, it took me a while. I mean, I didn't completely focus on, obviously they say 90 days, but I just took a lot longer. I started Ryerson at the time, so I'm just like, okay, let me focus on school first and just do this real estate gig on the side. It was just kind of just there. But I fully got licensed as soon as I turned 20. But I was still going through the courses and stuff like that. Our brokerage also was teaching the courses separately. So instead of you going to the actual OREA classes, we did something called correspondence, where you go and select a date for the exam and just kind of go and do it. But our brokerage would offer these classes, so I would go to those. But I would just kind of do it on my own pace, and I was doing a few other things at the same time, so it wasn't priority at the time. But once I got licensed, 20 years old, that's where it kind of got kickstarted.
Okay, sweet. And then we heard that your first, or maybe you could talk about your first deal, and then
So my first deal was actually my parents. 6 months into, I'm like, man, this is not going to work out. My parents went through a situation; they had to sell their home. So I'm like, okay, that was my first kind of opportunity, I guess, just to kind of get in the door, I guess. Sold that for them, and then another 6. I get another lead as well. I took an overpriced listing because I'm like desperate for a listing. Let me go give it a go. And that's one thing I learned. I'm glad I went through that lesson as well, because I took an overpriced listing and I told them what it was actually worth. And they and once I got replaced, they actually sold the listing for the price I told them it would sell for. And I'm like, man, what a waste of time. And then you kind of learn these things when you're young, right? I was very young at the time. And I remember when they were interviewing me, they're like, so how many homes did you sell? I'm like, 1. They're like, what? Every agent we interviewed has 100 sales or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I work hard and I sold this home in a day over asking, and you should still give me a shot. And they just wouldn't listen to my advice because I was still a kid. But one thing I learned is you just have to be the expert in the industry, right? If the client doesn't listen to you, then sometimes it's just not worth taking overpriced listings. We turn down listings all the time now. And then they'll usually come back to us after and say, okay, yeah, this agent couldn't do it. They took on the listing. You were right from the start. Let's go. Right.
Crazy.
So that was that. And then I had a little office deal that we completed, which was my first commercial deal. And then my third deal, I believe it was a large land sale. Yeah,
Wow.
that's kind of how we got started. Just working hard, I guess.
And side, these were all just back to back, or was this like significant amount of
Okay,
gap in
so
between?
yeah, like maybe about a month after that's when I lost that one listing. And
Yeah.
then I was kind of starting to lose hope because like I'm still on OSAP in school, and real
Yes.
estate isn't cheap to have too, right? You got monthly fees
Yeah, you
coming
get
in and
licensing and stuff. Yes.
license fees, insurance fees. Like it's brutal, especially when you're a kid, and then
Oh
got
yeah.
school to pay for as well. Right. So it just starts all adding up and life hits you as well. And I had this one credit card job at the same time. I also had a little necklace business on the side, which was doing very well for me. So at least that was kind of good for me to kind of fund everything.
Well,
But yeah, no, I got lucky with some opportunities in school. I kind of watched $1 million listings and so let me give it one last go. Started watching some YouTube videos and that
uh-huh.
boosted my confidence up. And I said, okay, you know what? I'm actually ready to take on larger listings. If it ever comes my way, I'm ready for this opportunity. Right. So when those opportunities hit, then I was just capable of taking them. And that's why one of my largest sales, it was a listing that couldn't sell in 3 years by some top commercial brokers. I took over and I knew what it took to work hard just by watching these YouTube videos or shows, just kind of getting that courage to speak or the way to speak or sell.
Yeah.
And I just worked out, just worked my ass off. When I was in class, I was just sending out emails or finding out which agents to call, or I would go on LinkedIn and start messaging everybody, about this one piece of land because I'm like, the commission's huge, right? If I
Yeah.
Yeah.
sell
Yeah.
I mean, I've got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just talk to the whole world. And, after 4 days, I believe I brought in an offer. Uh,
Wow.
that deal fell through because commercial deals take a while. After 30 days, deal fell through, sold it again in 2 days. Deal
Nice.
fell through. And then finally, the third time around, it sold. It was a $7.3 million deal, man. It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
Holy
so how, so so time
smokes.
out. You were 20 when you sold that, right?
Yeah, 2021, I believe. I believe I was 21 actually. 21 when I
So
sold it, and yeah, it was around 21.
so what's the commission on that?
It's six figures. Six figures.
Woo. Time
Yeah.
out, time out, time out, time out, bro. So you're 21 years old. You're more or less in somewhere between second and third year university. You get a six-figure paycheck. Sure, you
Yeah.
might have to pay some of that to taxes.
Yeah.
But because from when in my research, I realized that you completed your schooling anyways. Like, how were you motivated to continue going to school? Because even like me, I remember the first time I made some money on YouTube. I'm like, okay, this is just 1 month. I got lucky. Month two, I'm like, okay, I got
Yeah.
lucky. By
Yeah.
month three and four, I had to leave my 9 to 5 because I'm like, I'm making way more money doing this than working the 9 to 5. Like, but you didn't have that moment because you actually followed through. So what was the thought
Yeah.
process behind that?
No, same thing as well. I thought, I mean, that was like a one-time break, but I also knew my hard work paid off and it worked. And then my clients were seeing that too. So I had a few other opportunities. There was another luxury home that I had an opportunity to sell. And a top agent in that South Hill, Forest Hill, Casa Loma area couldn't sell it in like six
Okay.
months. We took over and I said, look, we'll do it in 30 days. And then they
Wow.
all took us like a joke. They're like, this kid's not going to sell it. The agent's like, who's this guy? Like, why would you give the list to
Yeah.
this guy? It's like, don't worry, it's my my son's friend from school, whatever. I just decided to give him a shot. And I remember on the fifth day, they were saying, well, Sai, look, your time's running up. It's almost a week now. Are you really gonna sell in 30 days? I'm like, no, we're getting showings every day, aren't we? And like, yeah. And then on the sixth day, we bring in our own offer. Our own buyer comes through the doors. We show the place, and that was, I think, at that time, a $2.5 million deal. It was a modern home in Casa Loma. It was a tough
Wow.
sell as well. It was like a glass home, and the community just didn't kind of vibe with the home, and they didn't like it. So it gave us some negative publicity for the listing, at least. So it made our jobs tough, but same thing, we were pounding the phones, sending out emails, calling everybody we could, go on LinkedIn yet again and just send it to the whole world. And it worked, right? Just hard work will always pay off and consistency, right? We always try to outwork I would just outwork anybody else. Right. And one thing I noticed in real estate, people just kind of take a listing and they just sit on it and put it on the MLS and call it a day. We're
Mhm.
still going full fledged, right? We're still very consistent. Same thing with school. I'm just like, well, I started this. I've got to stay consistent. Let me see if I can complete this task. completed it. You know, school is mainly like it's a test to see, you know, I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but if you join an employer, it's a degree is kind of telling your employer, okay, this guy started, he actually finished in 4 years. He started something, he spent this 4 years. There was a series of tasks. This guy actually completed these tasks. He stayed with it. He stuck with it. Okay, this guy's going to stick with me as well. Right. So you're kind of building that for your employer. For me, it was just for myself, where it's like, okay, let me use this as a tool. Let me prove to myself I can finish it, because every time someone makes a lot of money, every time I always hear someone say, I dropped out. I'm a proud dropout, or you'll see it on the license plate, I'm a dropout. I'm like, man, no, I want to be something else. I want to see if I could do what they did and also complete school at the same time. Right.
That's the new flex.
Yeah, exactly. So that gives you a little bit more credibility. I met a lot of cool people because of Ryerson as well, or the school I went to, and whatever I wanted to learn, I would kind of retain, because I did learn a lot in school. Whatever I didn't want to learn, I just didn't care to learn. But some of those lessons I learned and I decided to retain still go a long way today.
Awesome. Now, Sai, I want to say, because, bro, honestly, even though you speak, it sounds just so intelligent, right? And then again, I remember hearing the podcast that you said, like, even when you're in university, even when you're studying a real estate license, your textbooks didn't even get to leave their covers. Like, how'd you make it to uni?
Actually,
man? Like, you're just naturally gifted, bro. Like, what, like, you cheating, bro? What's the secrets, man? Give us the secrets, man.
Yo, Tamil men don't cheat, bro. Relax.
No, man. Yeah, books were just never my thing, man. I was always a believer, I guess, working smart. I guess it was just kind of instincts as well. Even when I was a kid, like my mom would always try to get me to study, or she would send me to they would send me to tutoring classes, and I would use that as a tool, right? So I wouldn't actually learn. Like I'd be like, man, I don't want to learn these questions, and I would go to the tutor and be like, can you do this question? And then I'd go back and can you do this question? And I would just learn by the way they do it. Right, like these math questions, I'm like, man, I can't do this. And then the tutor would just kind of be like, okay, this is how you do it. And I go back for like every question or like every challenging question. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I would try to repeat it for the next question, but the next question would have like a hiccup. And I'm like, wait, what's the hiccup? And then I would kind of learn like that. So people kind of show me the way. Even in high school, I would just do the same thing. I was just a kid that would just kind of learn the day before, or just go to class at least, right? I would go to class. Make sure I retain the most, and then my tutor to complete these questions. And then now I've got those two knowledges, or those two ways of learning, and then I would complete tasks like that. In university, it was more like same thing. Now I didn't have a tutor, but I would have good friends around me. So every time I go to class, I would network with friends, and they would know what they were doing. Or I would talk to the prof and be like, okay, what kind of questions are going to show up? And then I would kind of gear towards my focus towards that from the PowerPoints or class. I wouldn't even read the textbook, man. After I think my second year, I stopped buying textbooks.
Good.
Even my real estate stuff, man. My real estate courses, every textbook I have is still in their saran wrap. My brokerage taught me a lot too, right? So because of them, I wouldn't have been able to pass the courses.
Bro, and like the thing with real estate licenses, with ARIA, it's I guess is why they changed it, because it was so corrupt. You could literally go pay someone and get like all the exam questions and answers, and like you don't even need to touch the textbook. You just memorize those.
That way, our class they were pretty legit though. Like they would still get you to come every week, and then they would start teaching you like, okay, they would be like, this is what's going to show up. You don't need to learn the whole book, but here's a condensed version of here's a summary. So I would just go through the summary and learn all that stuff. And then, the questions would be similar, but if you don't know what you're doing, like there's no point in taking the questions and just kind of doing it, right? Like, so at least get some sort of knowledge. That's why you have a lot of idiots running around now, right?
So I talk to us about that. Talk to us about that, man. Talk to us about the average realtor. Because like the statistic is like what, like 90-something% of realtors drop out within their first year or some shit like that. Like, talk to us about how, because I agree with you. I feel like, especially doing business with realtors, whether that's on the real estate side or not, realtors, the most average realtor, are like some of the most dumbest people you'll ever meet. And they don't understand like the most basic business concepts. Talk to us about how frustrating that is for you.
Okay. So like one thing I was taught by my brokerage as well is don't be that idiot, right? So once I first joined, it's just like, I mean, for me, it was just like, holy shoot, I can't believe I'm even an agent. I wish I could do $1 million deal one day. Like I remember seeing one of our agents at the office sell like a $1.2 million home at the time. At that time, that was a pretty big deal too. Obviously through inflation now, prices are different, but I'm like, man, one day, I'll sell one of these, or even if I can just do one of these, I'll be good or set. But over time, you just kind of just learning, right? Like I've always been an open book. I'm just a sponge. I try to learn from everybody around me. I try to see different agents to see what kind of methods they were doing. I would see what the idiots were doing. I would see what the good agents were doing, and I would kind of see what not to do, what to do. And then I would just learn most agents were just kind of, they were just kind of taking shortcuts, or a lot of people were just in it for the quick money. And that's, the wrong reason for why people get into real estate too. Those people don't usually last in any business, right? So I took the long-term approach. I knew it was going to be it's still a long-term approach, right? Like I'm going to be doing this for the next, hopefully 50, 60 years.
Sai, that's actually crazy you said that, because there's three things I want to highlight just in the past two questions you demonstrated. So I had this rough patch around the time when crypto entered into bull market and like money was not as good, YouTube's going downwards. So I started studying successful people. And there's three really interesting things I heard in like your come up that's like, I'm like, wow, this is kind of crazy. One was and you learn this in masters from a young age, but the fact that if you didn't know how to answer a question, instead of you just being helpless, you just go ask a teacher for help. And to a certain degree, it could have even been times where maybe you could have applied yourself, but you rather the shortcut is go to the teacher. And it's interesting because when I was studying Julius Caesar, he was the kind of guy who would ask for all the resources needed and some, to the point where it was frustrating for other commanders to be working alongside with him because he was constantly asking for support. A lot of people look at that negatively. Usually, as I say, like in typical businesses, if a supervisor comes in, there's that one supervisor who's like chill with everybody, like literally pays out of their own pocket, and eventually that guy ends up getting fired.
Yeah.
Then you have that really annoying supervisor who's micromanaging you, who's always getting help from head office. It's like doing the least amount of work, but that person for some reason ends up staying around, right? And it's interesting how like you've adopted this psychology, I guess, subconsciously, where you knew instead of wasting my mental bandwidth, I could go get support from someone else, which is super interesting. Another principle I saw in you, as well as learning through osmosis, which again, it kind of goes hand in hand with that, is not only were you making your teachers do the work for you, you're being conscious with it. You're actually learning, understanding at the same time, right? Which again is another important skill, right? When people go out to a farm and you see the cows, and when they're with the calf, they don't tell the calf, yeah, we can eat this grass, we don't eat this grass. The cows learn through osmosis, right? Humans also learn through osmosis. That's why mentorship is so important. When you're the mentor, you might not necessarily be doing the business with them. You probably know this better than anyone because when you're working with your mentor or someone ahead of you in your business. A lot of times he probably didn't say, hey, Sai, you got to do this, you got to do that. It's like, no, like you might be fetching his coffee and you consciously have to understand what he's doing and kind of learn through osmosis.
Yeah, and one thing I also took, like, which is huge, like I would study guys like Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. Like people would say Microsoft and Apple are two different competitions, but they don't realize in the background they're calling each other. Yeah. They're asking, okay, what's going on? What did you see here? What did you do there?
Oh, for sure.
Other realtors do that with me. I do that with other realtors, right? So we all kind of help each other grow and learn in different ways. I don't read books, but I learn from podcasts. I learn from YouTube. Yeah. YouTube is the biggest. I still learn
for sure
a shit ton from YouTube, right? Like that's how I came across you guys on YouTube as well. Like, cause I'm always learning about Bitcoins or bull coins, like really good blue chip coins, what stake. Like I'm new to crypto. Like I always knew about it. It was always there, but everything I've learned was just through like my collecting career, NFTs, real estate, anything I want to learn. It's YouTube. It's just right there.
Right? Yeah, it's crazy. And that's the third thing I was going to say. Like you're very quick to learn, but not only learn, but understand between, hey, this person's kind of smart. Let me do what he's doing. But also the flip side, and this is what people forget, is this person's a complete idiot. But I'm also going to learn from him because I'm just not going to do what he's doing. And that's like these are literally three principles to success. And it's interesting that you just learn this through YouTube and podcasts and stuff, where like people go out and study and read this literature to get to this, which is extremely cool, bro.
Yeah, man. No, it's how we learn, right? Like we're all like kids at heart at the end of the day. Babies are always learning and adapting through different ways, right? You kind of see and do what others do. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? Like everybody says.
Oh, for sure. So next question on this, Sai, was what's a typical day look like for you right now?
Okay, typical day is just I kind of go with the flow as well, but for the most part, it's still having a structured routine. One thing I'm starting to do now, like it's always ever changing my routine, I guess. depending on how I want to prospect or how I want to, work with the teammates or how I want to answer phone calls or what kind of listing I'm working on or buyers I'm working with. So just waking up and just getting straight into it, right? Like obviously my morning routine of just freshening up and then just having a cup of coffee and kind of start the day off like that, I guess. But usually answering emails right off the bat, answering texts, calls. Calls will start coming in soon. If calls are not coming in, then what do I need to start doing to start planning? I'm always just constantly thinking, and then by the end of the day, it'd be like midnight. I'm like, oh shoot, I didn't realize the day went. Just because I also I do, and I'm always just trying to learn how to evolve, trying to adapt, see what's new, what the competition is doing, what everybody else is doing, but I need to do differently. So I'm just always looking for new creative ways while still servicing my current clients. There's always just something to do, I guess. And so I just try to keep myself busy, and if I'm not busy, then find a way to get busy, right? Yeah.
Sai, for you, what really started the momentum in your business? Obviously, we talked about your first sale not falling through, then the commercial, then the land. But where was like the actual momentum? Because we didn't. Do we cover all the awards Sai has? I don't.
We
think
covered
so.
not all of them. There's a lot there. We don't
I
want to
can
be
break
for an
that
hour,
down.
right? But we
Yeah,
covered the
'cause
majority ones.
So,
Yeah.
because just for someone listening, he has like the Hall of Fame Remax Awards,
Yep.
Chairman Award, Platinum Award, 100% Award, and Platinum Award. Again, it's 2018 to recent, and you could Google what these each mean. They like it pretty much shows he's a high earner in his space. But what really built the momentum to like take the business off, and then for you to really become like a full-time agent and a standout agent?
Well, for me, just the momentum was competing against myself, right? So anytime I completed a large deal, it's like, okay, what's next? Okay, how do I keep proving like I'm like, man, this concept works, whereas everybody else was kind of struggling or kind of having a hard time selling. And I'm like, man, hard work just works, right? Like you just gotta get creative, working smart, obviously, working hard, getting out there. Social media, like I guess there weren't a lot of people doing social media at the time too. So I was in social media before the like when you can do the ads without the restrictions, right? Now you have to select the housing restrictions or social restrictions and stuff. So that gave you a very good pull. And so I was early on with that. And then now obviously everybody's doing it. And so I'm always just constantly just seeing, okay, what's next? How do I keep evolving? Right now I'm like, social media may not be the thing anymore either, because I'm just seeing everybody's impressions are starting to drop. People are kind of taking that social detox now as well. And getting out there. So we're looking at, okay, how do we now build relationships in person, right? Like meeting more people and kind of setting meetings, right? Like now I'm changing out my routine to kind of fit in like, podcasts or meetings and stuff like that, right? Like meeting with new people. So just always, it's ever changing. So you just gotta always think, okay, what's the future? I used to play a lot of chess as well. So in chess, one thing I learned is you gotta, look into future moves. And that's something I do. My day-to-day as well. Those are actually one of my first few awards. I used to win a lot of these chess competitions.
Interesting, man. Yeah, and I like the framework behind this, bro. The way your mind works is interesting. Can you talk about that real quick?
Entrepreneurial set. My first job was, I had a business called Celeranto, sold like wooden necklaces where I would, customize these wooden necklaces. I got into a credit card business afterwards as well. That's where I really learned a lot. So that's my first few mentors. My shout outs to, like, if these guys are ever listening, but Phil, John, and a guy named Alex, and a few other people too that mentored me. I remember like going on, I think it was Indeed or Monster.ca or something, just looking for jobs. I remember going to STC, like throwing in resumes. I'm like, man, I gotta get a job. And finally, obviously, who calls, right? Like these call centers or direct marketing companies. I go in and I thought it was a real job. Everybody's in suits. I'm like, man, I'm in an office. This is gonna be cool. I get a call for the second interview. I'm like, man, this is exciting. And then it turns out during the second interview, I'm on the field and they're at a Shell location selling credit cards. I'm like, what the hell is this? And they're showing their suits. I'm like, okay, you know what? I've got nothing else to do. Let me just, I'll give it a go. This whole summer is going to go to waste anyways if I don't do anything. So let me just try something out. And man, it was the best decision ever because I learned a lot. My first day, I couldn't talk to people, man. Like I was just like, do you want this credit card? I'm just butchering everything. And I would see the guy do, he's like, no, this is how you're supposed to do sales or sell, right? Like just, know your pitch, know stuff. And then I would start adding to my pitch over time. And I think first day I sold like 8, and then 12. And then I'm like, okay, now I got the hang of it. I was talking to like 50, 100 people a day. It was becoming fun. was becoming fun. And then I started doing like 60 consecutively. The most I did in a day was 60. So 60 is what I
Oh,
did in a day.
60. Okay.
60, and
Okay.
which it's tough, man. Like that's
Oh yeah.
to get 60 was like I was there early because you can leave whenever you want to. I was at a good hot location by Dufferin and Lawrence, I believe, and I started at around like 9 or 9:30, and I'm like, man, I'm on fire today, so let's keep this momentum going. I went home at like 9
Nice.
p.m.
And
Damn.
it's just like a gas station. You said you were selling
Yeah,
at
it
a
was just a
gas
gas
station?
station selling crack. I would just
Fucking
start going up
hell.
to people and how's your day going today? And they're like, oh shit, yeah, me too. I'm out here all day. Or it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I'm out here all day.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
oh, okay, cool. And then I would just kind of learn how to read people as well and kind of see what they want. Nobody wanted credit cards, man. They just wanted to
yeah, for
support
sure.
me, or they're like, man, okay, you seem like you know what you're doing or selling something good.
Yeah.
And that just worked out. But on average, yeah, people would only sell like 3, 4. I'm like, how are these people surviving? Because you get $9 per credit card sale.
Okay.
And if you sell a world card or those annual fee cards, you get $14 or something per card. We were getting
Yeah. That's
hustled by the banks, but
dude. That sounds pretty sweet because it just quick maths, right? Like 60 times nine, it's like five hundred forty
it was better
dollars
than
on a
minimum
good
wage.
day.
That's for sure. I'll tell you
Yeah.
that much.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
how
no,
I
for
did the
sure.
math. But I'm like, man,
Bro,
now
five
when I
hundred
look
bucks,
at
bro.
it, the bank made a killing because of us, right? Like
Oh, for
thousands
sure.
of credit cards we sold and all the accounts
Yeah.
we helped them open up. It's like,
Interest and
man, we got destroyed. And then the marketing company, I don't know what their splits were. They probably took a good split too. But
yeah,
man, but either way, I learned
insane.
a lot of great skills, right? Like that was the
Mm.
benefit for me, which helped me out a lot in life.
At this point, what are you using for lead gen? Is it just referral based at this point, social media,
Mainly,
mix of
yeah.
both?
We've been doing it for like it's gonna be 10 years next. Well, just hit 9 years, I guess, in real estate. So yeah, like for the most part, it's just like drip campaigns. I've got email campaigns that I'll do here and there.
Nice.
Social media for sure. People just recognizing us in the community.
Yeah,
People just kind of knowing us, just kind of doing everything, right? There's no one set lead gen method. There's no such
yeah,
thing, guys. I
yeah.
feel like people are like, oh, how does that billboard work, or does this ad work?
Yeah,
People will spend all their money on that one thing and be like, man, it's not working. What do you do, Sai? I'm like, man, you gotta just be consistent. You gotta
yeah,
be on top of every single damn day,
Mm.
and just keep working at it, right? And you just gotta. Everything's gonna fail.
100%.
Everything's gonna work. You just never know where the client's gonna come from.
Another thing I guess, so like in our I guess community, whether that's like the real estate community or even just like town people in general, I'm not gonna lie, a lot of people know
Yeah,
Sai. Okay, a lot of people know Sai. A lot of people look up to him as well. And like I remember even just when I first started out like getting my license. Obviously, I don't do real estate anymore. Don't plan on doing
yeah,
it anymore. But when I was first getting into it, like I was trying to see, okay, like who are the top agents in Toronto, Ontario, or whatever, right? And like Sai was one person who like I constantly saw, and on social media he looked pretty good, he looked pretty clean, and like a lot of people can fake it, but one thing people can't
yeah,
really fake is what other people say about you, right? And I've had so
Yeah,
many people like, again, like Sai, you probably know some people you probably don't even know, but like some people be like, yo,
yeah.
like check out this guy, like he's killing it, he's young, yada yada yada. And as someone who I guess for a lot of people you are like a role model, right? My question to you is, and this is a very interesting question, is what's your opinion on EXP Realty and their whole model of bringing agents in under your umbrella? And I like how you laughed there. I knew you were gonna have a reaction. What do you think about it?
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm not gonna talk about. I feel like everybody that's trying to do something is good. The only thing I heard,
He's
right?
media
Like,
trained, eh?
I mean, remember, I started off at a brokerage called Public Choice, right? It was a small boutique company.
Okay.
We grew to like 130 agents, and then my broker of record started his own Remax. So I'm like, hey, let me just go to Remax instead. And that's like I've been 4 years in Remax now, and think of another about 5 years at Public Choice. So I was at a no name. I'm like, I was always focused to. I was taught to build your own brand,
Mhm.
and kind of just
okay.
go with that. And yeah, Remax it helps for sure. EXP, for whatever reason, they just don't have the greatest name from what I hear. So I don't really know much about it, but I just know their way of making money is the more you recruit, you also earn a split off of them too, which is
Mhm.
kind of like a team concept too, right? I mean, like good for them for
Hmm.
kind of creating a concept like that, but you don't want to just recruit anybody and everybody just for the sake of making commission. You actually need to learn to really train people and mentor people, right? You can't just hire everybody and be like, okay, I have 100 people under me now, and that's it, right? Like that's not how we
Yeah,
work. You don't want 100 idiots running around either. Like when our team mentality is not to just recruit everybody either, and our brokerage does the same thing. They're not trying to just recruit every idiot. So like for us, they're always letting people go. Like if you don't hit a certain quota or something like that, you know what, you're just not fit for real estate. maybe good luck at another brokerage, right? So I like that approach too. And
That's
for us, same thing, right?
mhm.
Like if you can't deliver, you don't want to just like waste everybody's time. It's a two-way street. I'm gonna provide value, and like vice versa. It's both ways, right? So you need to be coachable as well. I think, but I think everybody's coachable too. Like, I mean, I didn't think I would be fit for sales, to be honest. I'm an introvert kid too, but I don't seem like it, right? But yeah,
That's
EXP is
interesting.
interesting. Even people looking up to me and stuff. I don't know why. I always tell people, why do you look up to me? They're like,
Sai's so
I look
humble,
up to
man. Like, you know why, man. Come on, let's be real. You
I
know
know,
why.
but you guys see the six. I look up. I guess because I look up to like guys in New York or guys in the States, and
Yeah.
then the guys really killing it, right?
Yeah,
I'm looking at people, and I'm like, don't look up to me. Look at these guys.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I'm still on a journey too. Like my 20s, like I'm still in my 20s too. But I'm using this time to learn. Like, but if people want to look up to me as well, then cool. That's awesome. But I'm still learning, and then hopefully my 30s, then I'm then, like really crushing and using everything I learned, right? So right now I'm just on beta testing too. Right? I don't think
no,
I've
it's
unlocked
interesting
everything.
that you said that, Mike. I think it's like a very humble approach in the sense that like you usually are told like, yeah, like shoot for the stars, right? Like try and do as much as you can. But at the
Yeah,
same time, I feel like when someone's just starting out, your main focus, like you might not have the mindset to say, okay, I'm just gonna start this career. How can I make $1 million a year? You might first want to say, okay, how can I make like 50K a year, then like six figures? And like I guess everyone does have that path they have to take.
a
And
gradual growth.
in exactly gradual growth. And like I guess Umar and I can also say like growth very fast, like massive growth in a quick period of time is
Yeah,
nice, but it's not really healthy. And there are pros and
yeah,
cons to both, right?
yeah.
So maybe some people want to take that slow and steady approach,
So
which
I've
is
got a
why they
tip
might
for
look
that.
up to people. Yeah.
I've been taught organic growth. Focus on
Hmm.
organic and slow and steady growth. Yeah, if you grow too quickly as well, like I've always wanted to be like, okay, let's go, let's go, let's go. But
Yeah.
my good friends, mentor, and stuff will be like, no, no, slow it down there. Like
Hmm.
slow and steady, organic growth. Don't worry, man, it's gonna come. Right? Everybody just
Yeah.
wants quick growth or quick success, but yeah, when you just like sometimes you have to be humbled down every time, or like you just need to
Hmm.
be reminded that. But when that happens for me, I just think organic growth, right? Take
Oh
your time.
yeah. Speaking of coaching, I'm curious, would you ever go down as, maybe like a Tim Ferry or like a Rob Vivian? Do you maybe want to get into coaching, or how does that work? Would you want to start a course? What do you think?
I have no idea, to be honest. All those ideas always came to mind. And sometimes I always say, I don't want to be this or that. But I mean, things always change, right? So who knows? Maybe I could be a coach one day. Maybe I'll be a speaker. I don't know. Like, people are like, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? I'm just taking it day by day. Like I said, I'm still in my learning phase. Like I still have a long way to go too. People don't realize that. So I don't know. I wouldn't know, but with EXP, just yet again, the only piece of advice I have is like on our team, I could have 100 agents under our team too, and we could earn a certain split. But
Hmm.
for us, it's quality over quantity, and that's the way we kind of focus. And it doesn't matter which brokerage you join either. I feel like just obviously interview a good 5 to 6 before you join a brokerage, or
Yeah.
if you're currently at a brokerage and not happy, just interview 5 to 6. But it comes down to you at the end of the day too, right? Your brokerage will have a good back support, which thankfully my brokerage does everything for us, like a lot of great things that I need. Um, but that's my recommendation. So EXP, as long as you've got a good mentor or good people around you, then yeah, it should be a good brokerage. I know they're young and they've got a lot of energy, so
Yeah.
that will motivate.
Sometimes too much energy, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that's good, right? You need that.
Yeah.
Sorry, so random question, right? But if you're
Yeah,
dropped into a random location and you have to
yeah.
start over completely from zero with
Okay.
no degree, no real estate success. I mean, you
Nobody
only keep your
knows you.
experiences, but
Yeah.
nobody knows you. What would you do?
Always think about this all the time too, right? Because I still feel that way. So it's always just get back into sales somehow, find some sort of job. Like I mean, my first job was like I would if I have none of this, I would probably be looking into e-commerce or finding another
Mhm.
business I could scale in. So that's something I would be doing. Like I'd be looking to like I've got so many ideas that I haven't even put out to life because I've also been taught to stay focused on one thing, right? The kind of focus on your niche.
Yes.
So if I yet again, it goes back to that theory of growing too quickly. I want to do this,
Hmm.
do that, but when you just stay focused on that one thing, you'll kill it. So I've got so many different ideas I want to do. I have a notepad of all these ideas too, but you don't want to go ahead and do everything right until you kind of perfect 1, 2, 3, and then you can just kind of
Yeah.
go back to those ideas. So I do always think of new ways to make income. But for someone that's starting, think of a new idea you can maybe sell, maybe get into door knocking, job or some sort of direct sales. I've never worked for a salary. I've only worked on commission. So I feel like commission is kind of, it builds you into a strong character, right? Like, look at me. I used to be a very quiet kid in high school. So sales taught me a lot, right?
100%. So I actually have a very similar story to you in a sense where I was that shy kid as well.
Yeah.
And what really got me to break out as well was when I was like grade 8, grade 9. I wanted to buy like a watch. I saw everybody had a gold watch. Everyone was rocking like, of course. And I
Yeah.
didn't want to put that burden on my parents. We weren't poor. We were like, I would say we were decent middle class, but it was one of those things where 4 siblings, birthdays, presents, I didn't want to burden them. So I was too young to get a real job. So I started door knocking, and it was winter at the time, and I was shoveling snow. And I feel like that was a point where I broke out, because after, again, like when you're selling something and you're going to a stranger's house knocking the door, it's so embarrassing. You don't want to be there. But when you know the desired outcome is, oh, if I knock, they might say no, but if they say yes,
Yeah.
I'll get $20, and I got to collect 10 people to say yes, $200, boom, I'll get my watch. And
Yeah.
it was that same psychology to be like making friends and there's be more socials. Everybody like even an introvert. I'm very introverted in a sense where like I'm not gonna lie, I'm married and there's times where I just want to sit down alone and read a book or create some content. Like
Yeah.
that's just my personality, right? But there's also times where I'll go out with friends and party, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But it's just what do you want from the desire, right? For me, kinship and brothership. Once you understand the desired results you want, you can literally do anything. And I don't think it really matters if you're introverted or extroverted, right? I think the main thing you should focus on is, are you shy? Because you could be extroverted and shy, and that's a problem. Or you could be introverted and shy, that's a problem. But as long as you get over being shy, I don't think it really matters if whether you're introverted or extroverted. That's just your personality trait. It
Yeah.
really matters how you continue doing your life. Like someone say, "Oh, you're introverted, so you can't be on camera." No, not true. I'm very introverted. I spend like most of my waking hours on
Yeah.
camera. So I
Man,
love
I
how
was
we resonate on
introverted
that
and
one.
shy, right? Like I didn't want to be on a camera or nothing.
Oh,
Like
trust me,
on
bro. Me
social media,
too.
I wasn't on social media until my broker was like, open up a page and start putting up some photos, right? So I
Yeah,
did
yeah,
not want to be out there at all. But
yeah,
you just have to overcome everything. Now I love it.
yeah,
I love
yeah,
this stuff.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
No, that's
All
cool, man.
right.
And I guess speaking of social media, we have Web 2 and now we have Web 3. Okay. So what a transition, man. I should get paid more for this. So basically, a few things I want to highlight. Okay. So two things. One, so we all know Six Buzz. I mean, even if you're not
Yeah.
Canadian, you know and have heard of Six Buzz. So Sai, what he did, and I'm gonna be honest, okay, because I'm someone who thinks the truth, honesty is the best policy. Okay. When I first saw this, I looked at this and I was like, what is this guy doing? I was like, what is going on? And for those that don't know what I'm talking about, so Sai bought one of the Six Buzz NFTs for 11.5 ETH, right? So as of right now, that's about 14 grand US. At all-time highs for Ethereum, that was 56K on a Six Buzz NFT. And again, like I said, when I first saw this, I wasn't really into NFTs. I didn't really know too much. And then fast forward to this year, myself and Umar, we actually made our own NFT project. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's quickly how I guess our opinions changed on NFTs. And I guess we didn't really understand it at first. And then we were like, holy shit, like, we got the Bored Apes, we got this, we got that. We started collecting NFTs ourselves and we made our own project. And seeing this as well, because I'm not gonna lie, bro, you're one of the first people to actually like do NFTs on like a social scale, at least in the sense that like, okay, I know who this guy is doing real estate. He's now hopping into NFTs and he bought a Six Buzz NFT. What is going on? I was so confused. So why don't you break down, I guess, really high level, like what was the play behind that and what benefits did you reap from getting that Six Buzz NFT?
Okay, I guess it just goes back to, so before I even knew what NFTs were, I was into art. Like I was during COVID, everybody was kind of getting their office set up and stuff like that. I'm like, man, everybody like, and all these art, I was getting all these art ads. I don't know if you guys were too, like, Hustle or whatever. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah,
have three of them
art
right
pieces.
there.
Yeah. Okay. So what I wanted now is, I'm like, I wanted something that moves. Right. So I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, something that's like that, but it's like on my wall and it's moving. So I'm like, okay, what is this? And then one of my good buddies, creative director, he got me introduced. He told me, he kept pushing me to get into crypto, get in. He's like, check this NFT out. I'm like, what the hell is an NFT? Beeple artwork. You guys know Beeple, right?
Yeah, of
yeah.
course.
Household's
Yes.
like legend. But I had an opportunity to buy one of his art pieces for like $999. At that time, he only had 1 million followers as well. I'm like, I don't know if Million's credible. Is he faking it on Instagram? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know this guy. right? He had 3 pieces on Nifty Gateway, $999 each, and I missed out on it. And then I'm like, like even if I just bought it just to display on my table because it did look pretty cool, because I've never seen anything like it, I would have been very, very happy
You'd be
today.
laughing right now, bro. You
Yeah,
wouldn't be on the podcast right now.
no, not like that, but like $900 would have been a $100,000 resale value, right? Or maybe who knows where that's going to go in the future too, because it's people. But so that's where I got intrigued with NFTs. Even Bored Apes, I got introduced to it early, but I'm like, I already bought a whole bunch of NFTs. I'm like, forget it. And I'm like, okay, shoot, right, missed that boat too.
Yeah.
The Six Buzz one, it was more like it's also a chess move too. I'm like, if NFTs ever become a thing and I want to get into NFTs, then it's also kind of like a chess move where people are like, what's an NFT? I don't know what an NFT is. But people now for whatever reason associate NFTs in my name, right? Like kind of planted a seed. So when you think six like NFT, you can be like, yeah, that clown that bought a Six Buzz NFT, I remember that. Right. So I've kind of made a statement there. And it actually came with some deals too, believe it or not. So it kind of paid for itself. So that was pretty
Sweet.
cool.
No, I definitely believe that. So I was gonna ask as well, what's because I have I guess I had a relationship with like Wave Room and some of these other Toronto
Oh
pages.
yeah, yeah.
And like
Good
they're
guys.
very interesting. What's like your relationship with Six Buzz like right now? Do you guys talk? Are you guys
No,
planning
I've
on doing
always
things together?
known of the owner, but no, like we don't really talk and stuff like that. But we're connected. If I need to get a hold of them or if I want some promo
Mm.
or something like that. I've had some ideas that I proposed to them as well. They thought it was cool, but I think I would rather just do the ideas like through different ways. So I never wanted to kind of proceed certain, I guess, topics. Uh, but no, Six Buzz is pretty cool. Like Wave Room is cool. I think the first guy that introduced me to all these guys was Six Wars, if you've ever heard of them.
Yeah, yeah, of course, yeah.
He's a good kid. Got me introduced to Wave Room and Real Toronto News, I believe. And then it just
Mm.
they gave me opportunities with some content and that did pretty well too. But yeah, it started off with Six Buzz too, I guess, right? At one point.
Sweet.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
So for those watching, obviously just double clarify, it's if you're not watching Canada, Six Buzz, Wave Room, all these are just like kind of like meme pages, but geographic for our city of Toronto.
Mhm.
Talking about social media and posts and stuff, what's the most money that you generated from one of your posts? Like, and by that I mean like you post like a tour and something, you got a lead and you close on them. Do you have a figure?
so to be honest, I don't keep track of where my leads come from. We just kind of put it
Oh,
out there.
okay.
But I
Okay.
guess through our condo projects, we recently sold, well, this year amongst both, it's a project called Viewpoint 1 and Viewpoint 2. We sold 34 units. So that was a very good sellout. That was good. And no, I don't know if I did get some interesting leads. Everything I do is online though, like right sales,
Yeah.
commercial deals. I will work on some large deals, but I haven't even met some of the people I've sold. Like that $7 million land, I
Nice.
never even seen it except for Google. So I'm
Damn.
just connecting the dots,
Awesome.
literally, right?
That's sick.
So,
Awesome. Awesome.
but leads come from everywhere. So there isn't, I guess, one deal where I could say that it kind of, we don't kind of focus on that one thing. We just kind of focus on be everywhere because you just never know what people are going to come from. You never know if they're going to come from YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest, like whatever it is, right? Or some random lead gen that you just set up. But unlike you guys, right? On YouTube, you know which video does the best.
Mhm.
Yes.
Post,
Yes.
like you don't get monetized, right? So
Yeah.
I wouldn't know where the clients are actually coming from.
Okay.
Got you. Okay. So I guess another question, kind of tying in NFTs, and obviously you do real estate. I think it's cool how, like you said, you had these I guess relationships now with like these blogs and whatever. Because I'm not gonna lie, like I think realtors they're underestimating the fact of like, hey, if you post something on these pages, like yes, 50% of the comments, like bro, I've been posted on there, majority of the comments just slewing my name, just full on like fuck this guy thinks he's the fucking brown Gary V, like fucking whatever, right? They go crazy, and it's like I think it's kind of funny. Like we all have a good laugh
It's
at it, like we
hilarious.
go
I
through
love
it.
it.
Yeah, it's cool, right?
Yeah.
And like they don't understand, like after something like that happens, bro, like you get recognized when you go outside. Like that's how you really become like a local celebrity. And I guess some realtors like it, some realtors don't. And I guess with the whole Six Plus NFT, and I'm sure like you probably had so many real estate people talking to you like, Sai, like, well, what is this? How do you think in the future NFTs and real estate, I guess blockchain technology and real estate will kind of come together? How do you think they'll kind of intertwine?
Yeah, we were looking into different ways to kind of add deeds to the blockchain and stuff like that. Like I do see concepts like that coming out. Right now, one thing I think about NFTs, it is the future, like the technology of it at least. So when you go purchase a ticket to the Raptors game, for example, I think it's going to be in a form of an NFT. So if you have a season pass, people can see who those owners are. The world of decentralization, like you're going to cut the middleman out pretty much, right?
Yeah.
So you don't need Ticketmaster if you go, well, maybe Ticketmaster would be that main platform, but you wouldn't need these guys in the middle. Like you can just go directly to the owner now because you can see who owns that season pass.
Yeah.
You can purchase that season pass, and now you just kind of show that NFT and you kind of enter the stadium, right? Another thing is I personally think photography is going to be a thing of the past as well. Like just like how we look at black and white photos, I think that's the thing of the past. And now photos are going to be a thing of the past. Now you see TikTok and videos. People barely post photos anymore.
Yeah,
right. So like it's going to be moving artwork on the wall. You'll see that in the future. I don't know when, but that's what I think.
100%.
And even on Instagram, like people are just making, like even YouTube, it's all YouTube shorts and stuff. Nobody posts photos, right? Like even display
100%.
pictures, you're gonna see that being like moving heads or whatever, right?
Oh yeah.
So I think that's kind of the future. I like collectibles as well. So like NFTs was it's kind of fun hobby to collect these pieces just to have on my wall and stuff. If something does well, then cool. I own a lot of NFTs now too, so I just kind of look at the next Picassos. I used to study guys who collected Picasso or these large art pieces, and they were buying Picassos in like the 90s when he was first, like coming out or was kind of in, I guess, was popular. And then obviously art died, and then certain pieces thrived. Same thing now, right? Like I'll look at guys like X Copy or Pock, if you've ever heard of them. They're huge. People, right? Like if you own certain pieces, they'll do very well long term. I got into video game collecting now too, right? Just now kind of getting into my old childhood because I see people getting to comic books, and that's something I may look into. I don't know. I don't really know anything about comic books, but I saw a comic book sell for like $5 million, $3 million recently for Spider-Man. So now I'm seeing that's going to happen with video games next, right? People are like, oh shoot, like, yeah, I remember that Pokemon Red I played or Pokemon Yellow I played.
Yeah, bro. I think it's already happening too. I don't know which game, but I think it was a Pokemon game that was sealed because I think I forgot what it was, but it did something crazy. We also saw like Pokemon cards and like people like PSA rating things and like all this shit, right? Like it's so interesting to see. And you're right, bro. Like I don't post pictures on Instagram anymore because anytime I do, it literally just jack shit. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, this is a cool picture, right?
Yeah.
It's weird.
I started buying sealed games, so like that's exactly what I'm doing. With high grades, sealed with good gradings, and I'm buying my childhood pretty much. Like Pokemon games, even cards, like Yu-Gi-Oh too. Believe it or not.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh.
Got some good, interesting holy grails. Like we're just looking at certain deals that are undervalued, especially now. Now is a good time to start picking these things up. I'm learning sports cards now too. I didn't really know much about sports card, but there was a card that sold for $12 million US, right? In the States for a baseball card. So Mickey Mantle was a 1952 card. That like $12 million, man. That's
it's insane.
I like car collecting as well, right? Like, there was a car that sold for $100 million. It was a Mercedes. So like anything I kind of buy, I try to look at value and kind of look at the collecting aspect of it. Even my car was numbered as well. So like when I was looking to buy cars, I'm like, hey, how do I drive a nice car but not be stupid with it as well, right? Something that's holding its value at least. So I'm always looking at that aspect. So people might think you're doing stupid things, but they don't really understand the deeper meaning behind. So, you can call me a clown for all these collectings or whatever I'm doing, but I think maybe I'm on to something. Maybe I will end up being a clown. I don't know.
But can you talk about the car collection real quick? What are you collecting?
Yeah, what car? I was curious too. What car do you drive? I don't think I know this.
Oh, okay. Well, don't really like to put this out there, but I do have an Audi R8. It's one of 9.
Oh shit!
So when I was buying a vehicle, like I leased I was leased a car like an idiot, and my dad was like, "Man, you see, like after 4 years, you don't make any money." So thankfully, that car also depreciated like crazy, so the buyout value didn't make sense. So whether you're buying a car in the $1,000 range or $50,000 range, $100,000 range, even $1 million range, if you buy the right cars, like look into car exotic hacks. Like you like it's called car hacking.
The Instagram page, right?
Yeah, like he's a guy that'll teach. That's like the basic form, but you can just learn how to car hack. So as long as you can find something that's undervalued, you're good. So I ended up looking for cars that I can finance. I'm like, even if I lose like 10,000, it's like whatever in 3 years, I'm better off leasing a car So when I bought my car, it was the R8. What I did was I was looking for Porsches actually at the time. I thought maybe Porsches will hold value. That's what I heard. And then I came across this one opportunity. I'm like, holy shoot, I've never seen a numbered R8 before. Yeah, I'll look into this. I negotiated a deal, got that at a good price. The car actually went up in value because of where the car market is. I was looking to take a hit of, maybe a little bit of like $10,000. So even if you buy like a CRV and you lose $10,000 or drive an exotic and lose $10,000, it's like, like it's crazy, right? So like obviously it's risky too. Like, I wasn't trying to make money or anything on it, but I just thought that was cool. And you use it for business too, right? And it's a write-off, right?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
So people don't see or understand those things. Like even like when I look at Bugatti owners, I don't think, oh shit, this guy's an idiot and he's just spending money. Bugatti owners actually, like, if they were to go and sell their cars now, they're probably making $1 million profit.
Yeah.
Right. So, like guys like Manny Koshman, if you know him on
Instagram, he's huge on
he's
YouTube.
Got the one of one Hermes. Like he can drive that for like 20,000 kilometers and still make like 500,000 minimum, or maybe even $1 million, right? And he's using that Bugatti to boost up his brand. He's writing it off. He's building some equity on it, right? So.
But look at like Andrew Tate too, bro. Like this guy literally like single-handedly
came out of nowhere,
boosted popularity for
Bugatti,
Bugatti.
Right. So like that's where I feel like that comes to play. And when you're young, you want to do that. I don't think I'll do that when I'm like older, but I'm like in my 20s, if I can do something like this, why not? Right. Like now's my time.
Okay, cool. And like speaking about
with the Tesla, right? Like you guys remember seeing that story as well. So what made you want that Tesla?
What made me want the Tesla, bro? Literally, like ever since high school, I wanted a Tesla, and I don't know. I just really fell in love with like Elon Musk's like vision of Tesla, just how fast they are. I never driven one before, obviously in high school, and one day I just test drove my boy's Tesla, and I was like, holy shit, like this is insane. And then 2021 came, made a little bit of money, and I was like, okay. I actually it's because of this guy, bro. So Umar, he bought a Corvette. And like he came to my crib, and I'm like, nah, that's crazy. There's no way. And I never had a car before, right? Like I drive like my mom's SUV, like literally a mom van. And then I was like, okay, Umar has a car. We're both doing similar in numbers, whatever. I was like, okay, I think I can treat myself to like my first car. So I ended up buying the car, and I didn't buy it in cash. I didn't lease it. I financed it because why would I lock up 60 to 70K in cash?
And Teslas hold their value too, right?
Exactly.
You can drive that thing, and you're better off financing that than leasing it as well. Right?
Exactly. And the other thing is like my exact car, it went like to buy that car now, you have to pay $10,000 more retail. Right. So it's like instantly boom. And I financed it, got super low interest rate because this is in 2021. No, 2021. And so like it's basically why I bought it. And I also just young, I have a good car, whatever.
And
like,
people are gonna ask you about it too, right? Like it's good. It'll help out with your career too. And I know a few people with Teslas too. It does very well for them when they see clients. People love it, right? Because they hear about Teslas in the media all the time. So.
And it's just like one of those like unique experiences, I guess. And another thing I guess we want to talk about, because speaking of like being young, partying, having fun, so a lot of people don't know this, but when I first seen Sai in real life, I was really just chilling, and we were on, if you're in Toronto, King Street, right? You go to King Street, you party, you have fun, right? So I was in King Street, and me and Sai were just like randomly like yo, like what's up, bro? It was so random, it was so funny. It was like something that like you like can't even like explain. But talk to us about like because partying and having fun, it's like some people kind of don't like it. They're like, oh, you should be doing that. You're an entrepreneur, blah, 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 hustle, hustle, hustle. We saw that culture with like Gary Vee as well. But there's also some people who believe, everything in moderation. And there's some people who just take it to the next level, and every weekend they're just out there getting sloshed. What do you think? Like, what do you think is the fine line? What's your opinion on that?
Whatever works for you, right? Like, I mean, I use maybe if I do go out to drink, it'll be like sometimes you ease off stress, right? You'll have long days. It's just a good way to unwind. But you also meet a lot of people going out, right? So one thing I like about going out, don't never let that life control you. That's the other thing too. You'll hear guys like Patrick Bet-David say, don't always party. You can leave that for when you travel out or whatever it is. Right now I'm young as well, so I'm like, let's experience certain things. But for me, it's more about going out there to meet a lot of people. I met a lot of good people. Like I've even met some like athletes and stuff. Just going out and you meet cool people, right? Like restaurant owners, a lot of people are sometimes older even, and then sometimes it's also humbling because it's like I don't want to be like that guy either, right? That's like, 40 or late 30s or whatever it is, still partying. I'm like, man, like that's also a wake up call too.
Yeah, bro, I want to be
I'm not,
married by then,
not
bro.
trying to bash anybody, but right. But you see the people that go there often, but once in a while that's okay, right? But yeah, you don't want to let that life control you either. That I think,
Sure.
yeah, definitely focus and
Yeah.
but use it as a tool, right? I use everything as a tool. Like school was a tool, partying definitely a tool, networking was always good.
Sweet. Now, so what's some major goals for 2023, man? We're amongst the new year.
Just trying to be myself, right? Like there's no new me, new
New
bullshit.
me.
Just okay, I did this last year. This year was a very difficult year, and thankfully we were very consistent compared to a lot of other people. So like that was humbling to see. I know 2023 they're saying is going to be even worse, so we're just preparing for that, and we're just seeing how do we continue to maintain or at least do better than what we did last year. We always try to just do where we try to one up ourselves for each year, and thankfully we were kind of capable of doing that this year, and same thing next year. Just expanding, right? Looking to grow, looking at new different ways to expand, trying new different things, experiences, everything, right? So just always evolving and growing is kind of the goal for every year. Right? That should be an everyday thing, I think, but I don't really look at new year, new this.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
Yeah,
I
think the funny thing I've seen is there's this page was like, I'm gonna text all my exes and say new year, new us. I'm like, what? All right, so this is the one word answer round. So you have to answer or whatever comes to mind first. So one word, whatever comes to mind, you gotta let us know, okay?
All right.
Okay. So Umar will do this in turn. So I'll go first. So property.
Yeah. You said property?
Yeah.
Commercial.
Ooh.
Entrepreneur.
You guys.
Blockchain.
Bitcoin.
Ooh.
Talmo.
Us. For myself.
Okay.
All of
Umar,
us.
your talent for the day. Real estate.
Remax.
Ooh.
Okay. The feeling of closing a deal.
Amazing.
Competition.
Myself.
Ooh, okay. That was a good one. Okay, that's it for now, man. Before we wrap things up, is there anything that you, by any chance, want to ask myself or Umar? Any closing thoughts?
Keep on going, guys. Like you guys are young too. I started off at your age too, right? Like young 20s. You guys are in your young 20s, right?
Yeah, I'm 22.
Yeah.
Early 20s.
Umar,
Yeah.
you're...
23.
Let's see, like that's
23.
when I started too. So you guys are on the right path. What you're doing is like just you got to keep going, right? Long journey ahead for all of us. We've got like what 50 years, 60 years ahead of us, man. So it's a good journey. Keep on rising. Other than that, social media, if anybody wants to find me, Instagram at Sai Tiru, Facebook, LinkedIn, Sai Tirulokan.
Yeah, we'll put all his links down below in the show notes and everything as well. Any other shout outs you want to say?
No, man. Everybody just keep doing your thing. Umar, Radies, appreciate it, right?
Much
you guys
love,
doing a good thing, and just keep going. Keep going. That's it.
Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you check out all of the helpful links I will put in the description below, and make sure you check out StockPick. Peace.